Hello. Today I want to talk about the idea of reality as it relates to Neverending Nightmares. So, if you've heard what I've said about the game and what I've been talking about, one of the interesting aspects about Neverending Nightmares is that you're in nightmares. And so, people have sort of compared it to Inception because basically the nightmares are sort of layered. So, you're in one nightmare, you wake up into another nightmare, and after that you wake up into another nightmare, and so on and so forth. But the interesting thing we're trying to do with that is that the reality of the nightmare is different in each nightmare, or subtly different, sometimes very different. Because if you think about nightmares and dreams, things aren't always as they seem. Sometimes a character in your nightmare, I don't know, character, person, some figure, concept in your nightmare, it'll be someone, but it'll look like someone else, or there's all sorts of weird aspects of that. So I feel like the nightmare theme it's really true to the nightmare theme that we have the notion of the changing realities. But I think more importantly to me is that this ties in with the themes that I want to explore with mental illness, because obviously, well, not obviously, but I've never had hallucinations or schizophrenia or anything like that, any sort of mental illness that where I'm seeing things that aren't there. But I think mental illness, at its core, all mental illnesses, you're not seeing the world for what it really is. And I think this is an important thing to recognize, and I think this is something that a lot of people don't recognize about mental illness. Because let's take depression, for example. So depression, I mean, probably one of the more common mental illnesses, and, people are really sad. Why are they really sad? Well, certainly there's a chemical imbalance or something, I don't know, but certainly I'm no doctor, but just from my own experience, I was really sad because I looked at the world and I saw only misery. I saw the pain that I would feel, and I looked forward and I saw there was no hope. There was no hope that things would ever get better. I knew the world for, as this miserable, horrible experience, and that was all I could possibly imagine. So, obviously that's very hard to deal with, but I think the interesting point is that that isn't what the world is, and certainly doing a lot better now. My life is much better than when I was at my darkest point, but the thing is that, it's not like the world miraculously changed. It's I started being able to see the world for what it is, and not to perceive everything through, I guess, the opposite of rose-colored glasses. I don't know what the opposite color, I don't know, black-colored glasses, well, that seems like sunglasses. I don't know, but basically you perceive everything through the filter of depression, and it distorts reality. And so that's one of the great things about what we're trying to do with Neverending Nightmares, is we're trying really hard to mess with your expectations of reality in the game, because I feel like that sort of illustrates what people with mental illness go through when they suffer and don't see the world for what it is, and don't really understand it. And I think that's a very important aspect to communicate about mental illness. And certainly I think we're in a very good position with the way we set up our narrative, and the nightmares to communicate that. But on top of that, I think it's just really interesting to be presented with sort of a puzzle, and the puzzle, of course, is what's real and what isn't. What is true in the reality when you wake up from your dreams, and what is just a manifestation of the psychological state of the main character. And that, to me, I think is a really interesting and compelling idea, and I'm excited about exploring that. And one of the other things is that sort of ties into the whole branching narrative structure and the whole endings, because there's going to be completely different endings with different notions about what the reality of the actual life is. So I think that's sort of neat because basically, you know, there's not one solution to the puzzle. There's many solutions, and all of this stuff works together in layers. And certainly, if it sounds ambitious, it is. But I feel really strongly that we know where we're going, and we can really pull this off.